Hey everybody, welcome back. Today's project, we're going to start working on the HX. Sorry, I'm a little bit under the weather. Pollen and the cold and stuff like that. It's going to slow me down, but it's not going to stop me. So I apologize for my voice. I sound really masculine right now, don't I? Let's go back to last year. I bought this and wrote it for last year, for the season last year. What my main concern was, I decided to take the cylinder head off and take a look at the pistons. And I got my bore scope and I checked the top of the pistons with the bore scope, and then I went in through the rotary valve, and something didn't look correct to me when I went through the rotary valve intake slot. And really, you can't see a whole heck of a lot because the crankshaft's in the way and that kind of stuff, but I tried to get in there as good as I could. And so I'm gonna pull the cylinder head off. So I pulled the cylinder head off. What I noticed was it looked like that the pistons had rusted, or the cylinders had rusted at one time. They've been freed back up again. So there's rust stains in the cylinders, but I don't know when that happened, what damage is done to the pistons, if anything. It ran fine all season long last year. But anyway, that just concerned me. So I decided, well, I'm just gonna take these cylinders off and just run my rigid hone through them real quick. Because the cylinders were very smooth, I wanted something to hold the oil on the cylinder walls just to help protect the pistons better. Because the walls were so smooth, I was worried that I'm not going to have oil retention on there and I could seize the pistons. Just my thinking. Tell me if I'm wrong down in the comments below. So I pulled the cylinders off, and when I did that, of course you look at the piston rings and stuff like that too as well. And the bottom ring, I'll take a new piston here. I got it. I decided to have new pistons put in it. So these are going to be the new pistons that I run. I'm going to get this all tore apart and board. But the top ring, I was able to pull the top ring off and it was nice and loose. But the bottom ring had so much carbon in that bottom ring that the ring was stuck to the piston. And so it took me probably 2 hours, I suppose, just to get the rings peeled off the piston on the second ring on both pistons. It probably took me 2 hours to do that without breaking the piston ring. And so once I got those off there, using carb cleaner and all that other kind of stuff that whatever I got laying around here, I finally got them pulled off. Then I take a little like razor blade and just scrape all the carbon out of that ring as much as I could, or the ring lands as much as I could. So when I go to put the ring back on there, it's got the spring tension that it needs and it doesn't stick like it was before. So after I got the piston rings, the second rings to fit back on there and have the tension that they in theory should have, I went to go put it back together. I didn't have the normal base gasket for underneath the cylinders. I had one that was a little bit thinner. I go ahead and hold up the cylinders, put it back together with a little bit thinner base gasket, and then check my compression, and my compression's at 150 psi. Everybody says the compression gauges are all different, so the key thing was my compression was the same on both cylinders. I had 150 pounds on my gauge. But what concerned me is if I put a thinner gasket in there, that lowers the cylinder and it lowers the head, which gives you more compression. So if I raise the compression with that thinner gasket and I'm still at 150, that tells me how loose rings are on the cylinders and how much compression I'm probably losing. The engine's starting to get tired. If I were to put the normal thickness gasket in there at the right height, my compression probably wouldn't be 150, it'd be 140, 135. And okay, now that's getting to the point where we need to think about a rebuild. So that's where I think I'm at. That's my long story about a short subject. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the engine out and get it bored out and put new pistons in it. But at the same time, I think I want to go the next step, and I'm gonna actually try to race this thing this year. Knoxville's got a race for us coming up in June, and so I think I might take a little bit of extra effort and throw a few go fast goodies at it to make it go faster. With the Sport Spec class that we have, basically the HXs, SeaDoo HX that you run in the Sport Spec class, they're pretty much stock. You can't do a whole lot to them. If you were to run a wave blaster, man, you can do a lot of stuff to those wave blasters and to make them keep up with the HXs. To get into watercraft racing, this is probably the cheapest way to go, is with a SeaDoo HX, if you can learn to ride it. So let's discuss the different things that I'm going to do just to make it a little bit more racer friendly. So let's get under the hood here and discuss things we probably can do to make this still class legal. So I'm going to pull the engine out, like I said, get this board out, and that's basically all you can do other than cylinder head. The rules say it's kind of confusing because the rules state that you have to have a stock cylinder head on the HX, but you can machine it for up to 175 psi. So I can have it milled to get to 175 psi, and that's basically all you can do. You can't do nothing with the exhaust, you can't do anything with the carburetors other than like jetting and pop-off pressures, that kind of stuff, but you can't do any machining to the carburetors. They have to be stock. We can take the choke off, you can put a primer kit on there. That's about it. As far as oil injection, you can take the oil injection off and run premix. I still want this to be a wreck ski that I can just go out on the lake and ride it whenever I want. And I like the ease of the oil injection. I could do premix if I was really serious about it, but I'm not a fan of the premix too much. My oiling systems always work good. I think I'm just going to keep that in here for this instance. The only other thing I can think of is the flame arrestor. This SeaDoo came with the Ocean Pro Power Plenum flame arrestor on here, which is fine. I mean, there's no reason I can't run this thing. So that's good. But I do have, if I decide I want to go a different route, I do have these. I don't know how you pronounce these are Pro Ks. So they're Pro K style. So I can run them. I don't know which way I'm going to go. I really like the idea of these. But as far as anything I'm going to do up here in the engine compartment, that's pretty much it. You really can't do a whole heck of a lot. Once I do get the motor put back together and I get the 175 psi that I really should be running to be competitive in the races, I'm going to buy another cylinder head, just a used one, and just keep it stock. And so if I just want to go out here riding on the lake, I don't have to run the 175 psi head. I can put a stock head back on there, which may be 150, 155 psi compression, and then I don't have to worry about detonation or something like that if my gasoline that I'm using is not high enough octane to tolerate that. When I go to run the 175 psi head, I'll be running probably 100 octane fuel, maybe 110, but probably 100. I don't think I need to be any higher than that. But I'll do some more investigating on that. Let me know in the comments down below if you think I should run more than 100 octane with 175 psi. But when I go back to 150, then I can just run the normal 92, 93 octane that I run in all my jet skis anyway. So I'll be swapping heads off and on a couple times throughout the year, depending on if I'm just gonna go out and play around out here on the lake and force around, maybe like testing sponsors or something like that. But then when it comes to a point where I want to have, I need to put the compression up there, raise the compression up there for a race, or if I'm going to go carbon buoys down in Chattanooga, then I'll put the good cylinder head on there, pull this 92, 93 octane out, put the 100 octane in, and go play around with a little bit more of a race setup type of a jet ski. So let's go to the back of the ski. Now on the back of the ski, we can do a few things back here. First things we can do is sponsons. I already got Pro Watercraft sponsons on this thing. They're better than stock. If you go online on Facebook groups and stuff like that, the SeaDoo HX groups, man, they rave about these sponsons. I'm just not that big of a fan of them. And yeah, they're better than stock, but they're just so inconsistent for me. On smooth water, they're great, but you get in rough water and they just don't work that well, in my opinion, for the way I ride. So I'm going to be designing my own sponsons, and they're going to be basically like a beach house sponson, where they're like a blade sponson. I don't have any in here right now. Oh yeah, I do. Go back here. So they're going to be like these sponsons on my GSX. So I'll be putting some of those on here. I don't like that you have to drill the whole hull out to make that happen, but I've had a SeaDoo before with those sponsons on there. Man, I love the way that thing handled. More so than I like what these Pro Watercraft sponsons are. So I'll be testing them. That's basically what I'm saying. I'll run these for a while, and then I'll put build my other style like that, put those on, and just be testing them before race day. See which one I like better. Ride plate, you can use a different ride plate as long as it's within a certain length. You can't go, I think it's like 3.94 inches, 100 millimeters longer. You can't go any longer than that from stock. Impeller, that's a big deal. You can put on whatever impeller you will fit in here. The wearing's got to be the same size, but you can put whatever impeller you may want to change to. So that's certainly an option. Intake grate, already modified the stock intake grate and built my own. And I've got 2 more designs yet that I want to try for the intake grates, and so I'm going to get those built in the next couple weeks. That way, by the time the engine gets all bored out and put back together, I'll have my other two intake grates. I'll have my other sponsons built and be ready to go out and test on the lake for a couple of days before race day. I'm not sure about steering nozzles. I don't remember if you can change the nozzle sizes or anything on this. I'll have to double check the rule book, which I'm not too really concerned about the nozzles, I guess, but I have to do more research. I don't know enough about the nozzles. I've never ran anything other than stock nozzles on any of my jet skis. I think I've had 12, 15 SeaDoos probably, perhaps, and I've never done anything on the, never changed anything in the pumps and the nozzles or anything like that. I've always ran stock stuff. Oh, I can change, like, go to put different turf on here. Like, you can change the seat cover. I'm gonna change the seat cover. I like the seat cover, so I'm not gonna wreck it, but I think the Jet Trim makes one that's got like more of a suede finish to it, so it kind of grips your clothes better, your wetsuit or your wet shorts, that kind of stuff. This stuff is kind of slippery, and I want something that has more grip to it. So I'm gonna do what I can to salvage this one because it's still got the SeaDoo logo on it. I really like the logo on there. But I'll definitely get a Jet Trim. I think that's the brand. I've never bought one before. I've always gotten black tip seat covers. So I'll get a Jet Trim, put that on there. And then I'd like to change the seat height too as well. The rules, I think they state you can adjust it by a ½ an inch or something like that. So I might change the seat height a little bit on this thing too before I put the Jet Trim cover on there. But that's about all I'm gonna do to it. I don't plan on racing any sort of series with this thing where I'm gonna be all ball to the wall, wide open, trying to win a points championship or nothing. I'm just gonna go out and have some fun. The club down in Chattanooga, Tennessee, they got rides on Wednesday nights, so it takes me a while to get down there. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours away, but every so often I might just run down there after work and carve buoys with those guys too as well. So that'll be what this thing is for. Earlier last year I put clear fuel lines on the SeaDoo, and while I just started up and running on the hose, I noticed there's a lot of air in my fuel lines. So it concerned me because I didn't want to lean out the motor with too much air in the fuel lines. So when I'm on the forums and stuff like that, there was a lot of guys were saying just avoid running your fuel through the fuel selector. So I went ahead and rerouted it, and so the fuel selector is no part of my fuel system anymore. And it certainly helps. I still have air in my fuel lines that I don't know where it's coming from, and that's the good fuel lines you get from OSD with the Odecker clamps too as well. So I don't know why I'm getting air in the fuel lines. It does concern me a little bit, so I'm going to work on that. And maybe it's that way anyway, but because we run gray fuel lines or black fuel lines or whatever, we can't see it. Now that I'm running the clear fuel lines, like a Tygon type of line, I notice it and it concerns me, but maybe it's always there. I don't know. Either which way, fuel selector is not a part of the fuel system anymore. So that's it for the first video. Just a quick rundown of what I got for plans for this thing. The next video is going to be basically we're going to be tearing things apart and seeing what is wrong with the engine, what is wrong with the pump and the impeller, anything else that we're going to be doing to this thing. See if there's any issues that we need to address, and we're going to go from there. Thanks for watching. We'll catch up to you the next time. Oh wait.